I gave you a mission statement the other day. It was perfect, and it remains perfect. A school should be a sanctuary for students, for educators and staff, and for parents. Period. Put that up on your wall. Believe it, because it's true. Then I spoke about the importance of reading and how every school could focus on and make that a focus for the year. And it's my intent now to speak to reading as a concept and perhaps give you some ideas, though I'm not one for strategies, maybe some strategies, but let's start with the obvious. Let me help you see and help you believe. I wrote it in The Gift of Reading. And if you've not read it or don't care to, how about this? Marlene Barron, the president of the Montessori Association of New York, writes a book, and she says, I learned to read and write the way I learned to walk and talk. She says it's that natural. And I think we want to start with that. So, friends, whether you're an educator, a superintendent, you want to hear this, a director, yes, or whether you're a principal or a teacher, teachers, when you test your kids, are you doing right by them? And I caution you to know this. I don't think so, not always. And it's our responsibility to know what our students are capable of and not kill the love of reading, but build the love of reading. So reading takes what? It starts by taking time. How much time? I don't know. I really don't know. I can tell you this, if it's as natural as walking and talking, at what age does this child walk? There's no prescribed age. They'll walk when they're ready. Not when you're ready. They'll walk when they're ready. When do they talk? They'll talk when they're ready, not when you want them to. So when will they read? They'll read when they're ready. All we can do is get them ready for it by sharing stories and the love of books and the love of illustrations. And that's how we prepare them so that when they're ready, they're gone. You can't make them ready before they're ready. I spoke to a group of parents in Scarborough one night. There were about 100 parents at a school meeting, and I said exactly that to them. And I said, I've got a little girl. My little girl was a slow walker. She was a very slow talker, and I knew she'd be a slow reader. So when she started school at GNS here in Victoria, she went with a letter, and it said, my girl was a slow walker, a slow talker, and she'll be a slow reader. But she thinks she's a reader. She's got 1,000 books in her bedroom. Her wallpaper is books. Her dad reads to her every night, whether it's by Skype at the time, and now, of course, it'd be FaceTime. She thinks she's a reader. You will not tell her otherwise. I don't want you to test her. No tests until I give you permission. And Victoria didn't write a test till she was in grade 6. And by that time, everybody knew she was a reader. And she is a voracious reader today. Why? Because she got the time she needed. Colleagues, give that some thought. So I'm wrapping this meeting up, and a woman stands up and she said, David, I don't know how to thank you enough for this. I got called to the school today because my little girl is struggling as a reader. And I said, and? She said, she just turned 6. And she said, she's just like your little girl. I'm not kidding you. She was a slow walker, she's just not a risk taker. And I said, and she gave me a big hug, and she said, I'm going to make sure she gets the time she needs. When all the parents left, there was one person left in my audience, and I said, Miss, can I help you? And she turned around, she said, my name is Donna Kwan. I'm the director of the largest school board in Canada, the Toronto School Board, and what you just told these parents, I want you to come tell my superintendents. And that really shook me up. I just thought, good. And I did, and I ended up speaking to thousands of people based on that meeting alone. So let me start with this, and I'll come back to it later. First thing it takes is time. How much? I don't know. But we have to give our children the time that they need.